Welcome to Muviz Recaps. Today we will be showing a recap of the 2006 rom-com movie titled It's a Boy Thing. As the movie begins, we see Nell reading a play about Romeo and Juliet in her bedroom when she suddenly hears loud music coming from her neighbor next door. She eventually needs to reach out to Woody, the boy who is actually playing the music, because the noise has become too much. She asks him to turn off the music so she can read, and he complies, despite making fun of her. She becomes enraged and slams the window. Her shirt gets caught in the process, but as she spins it comes off, and Woody laughs as he watches her. Nell receives a letter informing her that she had an interview to get into Yale when she wakes up the following morning and meets with her parents Ted and Catherine at the dining room table. Catherine is extremely enthusiastic about this. While his mother Della is preparing breakfast, Woody is seated at his home with his father Stan. Stan reminds Woody about a huge football game that is coming up and that he had to play well so that the scouts who were coming may choose him for college. In case he isn't selected, Stan also offers Woody a job at his spatula store. Woody doesn't seem that impressed, though. Nell leaves home shortly but is unable to catch the bus, so she now has to walk to school. Woody joins his horse friend who has come over to pick him up in the interim. As they're on their way, it doesn't take long before they notice Nell, and just for fun Horse splashes a puddle of water on her, Nell becoming quite drenched. Nell dries herself when she goes to school, but in the process, she messes up her hair, which makes everyone stare at her. She then encounters Woody and his partner Brienne, who can't help but comment on Nell's unruly hair. But Nell insults them both and departs. To Nell's dismay, Woody would get his revenge in class by loading an adult film website on her computer as the teacher and other students looked on. The pupils then find themselves in a museum where their instructor, Mr. Zeeth Bornak, is discussing a statue of a Greek magician who was linked to destiny. After some time, he divides the class into couples so that they can tour the museum together and take notes. When Nell finally meets Woody, she tells him right away how she feels about him. They converse and also discuss how they would never want to be the other person. While speaking, a kind of magic dust appears to circle around them before they part ways. When Nell and Woody retire for the evening, everything returns to normal. Even if they now seem to be surrounded by the magic dust in each of their individual homes. Once more by morning, when they are both awake, they discover that their bodies have been switched. And Woody has now entered Nell's body, and Nell has entered Woody's body. Until they peek out the window and recognize one another, they both believe it to be some strange dream, making them cry out in pain. Woody struggles to find something to wear but eventually does. He then tries to go but fails since Catherine recognizes him as Nell and invites him to stay for oatmeal for breakfast. Woody attempts to toss some of the food away since he finds it repulsive, but this only encourages Catherine to give him more. Nell struggles to put on clothes when at Woody's house, but after she does, she joins Woody's parents for breakfast. Stan and Della are surprised when she expresses her disdain at the food as she is being served and even challenges the quality. Eventually, just as the horse is about to take her up, she spits up outside. Horse detects a problem with the Woody he is familiar with as she enters the vehicle. But Nell makes an effort to remain calm. Woody arrives outside just in time to see them leave, but he also misses the bus, so he must walk to school after that. When they arrive at school, Nell, Woody, and their opposing bodies have a quick conversation and place blame for the incident on one another. They also gripe about the circumstances in their respective homes. Nevertheless, they decide to act casually and avoid attracting unwanted attention because they think it would probably just continue for a day. This doesn't quite work as intended when Woody doesn't accurately answer a question in class, which makes the teacher appear astonished. When Brienne arrives to ask Woody if they should hook up at her house, things will also eventually become awkward. Nell drops her tray and leaves the room as a result of Brienne's whisper to her, leaving Brienne ashamed. When she leaves there, Nell meets with Horse, who tells her about football practice, and even though she tries to come up with an excuse, Horse says it's too crucial and their coach would be so unhappy if Woody wasn't there. She then attends football practice, but it ends up being a complete fiasco. When the coach notices this, He warns her that Woody will be benched if this behavior continues. Woody and Nell discover they are still in each other's bodies when they awaken the following morning. Nell then makes the decision to give Woody a more sober appearance. Woody challenges her when he notices this at school, and inquiries regarding football practice. Woody interprets Nell's statement that she can do whatever she wants as long as she is in his body as a challenge and walks away. He alters Nell's appearance the following day as well, making her more appealing to boys. Nell finds this offensive and attempts to assist in covering up her body right away, expressing her displeasure with what Woody is doing as well. He doesn't appear to care, though. Woody would also eat rather oddly during lunchtime just to attract attention and enrage Nell. Nell breaks up with Brienne, but she makes sure Woody is present as payback. As a result, Woody is forced to leave the school with Nikki, who promised to make Nell lose her virginity for him. Later that evening at Nikki's house, Woody suddenly feels repulsed by the thought of sleeping with Nikki and flees. In the meantime, Della enters Woody's room and informs him that she has seen something is not right with him and that she doesn't want him to feel under pressure to impress the scouts in order to avoid working at Stan's business. Nell seems to value the counsel even though it is not for her. The following day at school, Nell is informed that she has lost her virginity to Nikki. This news causes her to cry, and Mr. Z-Born must comfort her because he cannot comprehend why Woody would be crying. When they would later cross paths, Nell would accuse Woody of acting improperly and humiliate him because everyone now regarded her as a little mischievous. Interestingly enough, Woody claims he didn't do anything with Nikki and expresses sadness for her before announcing his intention to reprimand Nikki. He charges Nikki as he plays basketball and accuses him of lying, but Nikki keeps implying that something happened between them. When Woody is unable to defend himself, Nell arrives and hits Nikki on the face. Once he is on the ground, Nell pushes him to explain what truly happened, which causes both Nell and Woody to leave. Much later, during a serious chat, the two of them recognized that the museum was the final location they visited before returning home that evening, and that the sorcerer's statue must have had an effect on them. With this, they go over to the statue and apologize, claiming to be excellent friends, but nothing happens, much to their dismay. Nell and Woody return to the school where they both brood over their futures after realizing that their attempts to manipulate the statue had failed. Woody suddenly understands that Nell must now possess his abilities because she used his body to beat up Nikki. He has an idea and suggests that while Woody teaches Nell how to play football, Nell would educate Woody everything he needs to know about literature for her interview. With this, they begin with football at Woody's place before moving on to literature. After finishing their work for the day, Woody departs, and Nell goes downstairs to the kitchen where she runs into Stan, who is shocked that Nell is visiting their home to study with Woody. He also claims that Ted was a wonderful person until Catherine forbade him from speaking to him because they were in different classes. Nell becomes discouraged when she hears this. The following day at school, Woody runs into Chanel, a friend of Brienne's and the girlfriend of Horse. He decides to sit with her after noticing that she is crying, and she begins to explain about how she discovered that Horse was cheating on her and how he never really expressed his love for her. When Woody runs out of things to say to defend the Horse, Chanel says she admires Nell instead. Woody smiles as a result of this. Their discussion convinces Chanel to invite Woody to a sleepover with Brienne and a few other girls. That evening, the girls partake in various activities while Woody tries to find out what Brienne thinks of him now that they've ostensibly broken up. Unfortunately, what he learns is not good as she claims that she only dated him because he was the football captain. Nell proceeds to overindulge at a party where Horse and Nell also get wasted. The following morning, Woody stops by to say hello and ask how she is feeling after the party. They then resume their training and get ready for the interview. After discussing what to dress for the interview, Nell sneaks into Woody's room later that evening. Woody then asks Nell to be his date for the homecoming dance, though he makes it sound less formal to avoid any awkwardness. That evening, at dinner with Ted and Catherine, Woody mentions that Nell must study with him later. At that same moment, Catherine appears to object and expresses her true feelings regarding Woody and his family, much to his dismay. Later, Nell stops by Woody's house to meet up so they can study as arranged, but she runs into Ted, who claims Nell departed for school. Utilizing Woody's body, asks Ted how he's doing instead of just walking away and kisses him on the cheek. She then makes her way to the school, where Woody is playing football rather than doing his homework. Woody claims that he is different from her and that Nell will never understand, but Nell yet feels disappointment. The interview is scheduled for the next day, and Woody looks to be doing very well up until the interviewer asks him to name several poets, which he is unable to accomplish. As the interview comes to a finish and he is asked to take a jump, he tries to improve by mentioning rappers' names and asking the interviewer to listen to a few of the rappers' tracks. After the interview, he boards a cab and drives to the school, where a crucial football game was already underway and Nell wasn't faring well at all. Soon after Woody comes, Nell starts playing better as he and Stan and Della support her. Nell scores the winning goal and is deemed the hero. As Nell is brought to the locker room, Woody follows and ultimately gets to tell Nell about how the interview went and how he liked being in her body. Nell also expresses her excitement at how well the game went, and then, the magic dust from the statue begins to circle them once more before returning to the museum. Both of them were in their right bodies at this time. As Woody is being taken away by his team. When he is left off, Brienne is there and kisses him, but Nell sees this and walks away. The day of the homecoming dance arrives the following morning, and Woody tries to persuade Catherine to let him meet Nell, but she refuses, claiming that Nell wasn't going to the dance and didn't want to see him. Since a new letter from Yale confirming her admittance had just arrived, Catherine tells Nell not to worry about the dance when she turns back in. Later that evening at the homecoming dance, Woody is not pleased and even ignores Brienne when she approaches him. Not long after, Brienne is crowned queen and he is proclaimed the homecoming king. In the meantime, Ted visits Nell and finds out Nell is not pleased. Ted urges her to attend the dance despite Woody now liking someone else. Even more intriguingly, it transpires that he has procured her attire for the dance, much to Nell's delight. Once more, Chanel realizes that Horse has betrayed her, so she sets him up, shocking him by denying him access to his car and clothes. Once again during the dance, the king and queen are about to take the floor when Nell enters and grabs Woody's attention. He approaches her and declares his love for her before kissing her after she agrees. However, Brienne is not happy. Eventually, Nell and Woody decide to leave the hallway and go home, where they resume their kissing and Nell tells Woody that she has already been accepted to Yale. Woody is ecstatic by this, and they continue kissing. Outside of their homes, Ted and Stan exchange waves. The following day, Nell tells Catherine she wants to take a year off from Yale. Catherine is unhappy with Nell, but as she eventually leaves, she runs into Woody, who is waiting for her in his car. When she gets in, he immediately speeds away. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.